History Spotlight, brought to you by HEC Media and the Missouri Historical Society.
Hello, I'm Dr. Jody Sowell, president of the Missouri Historical Society in St. Louis, and this is History Spotlight. This year marks the 80th anniversary of the All St. Louis World Series between the Cardinals and the Browns. Public historian Adam Kloppe describes the unique circumstances surrounding this unusual series.
2024 is the 80th anniversary of an event that holds a special place in the hearts of St. Louis baseball lovers. You see, in 1944, the Cardinals won their 8th National League championship and were headed back to the World Series. Their opponent? Well, quite improbably, the winner of the 1944 American League was the underdog St. Louis Browns, the first time the team ever took the American League crowd. What that meant was that in 1944, the entire World Series would be played in one city at one ballpark. Because of this, there are all sorts of unique facts about the 1944 World Series, which is today known as the Streetcar Series, due to the fleets of streetcars that brought St. Louis fans to witness the games. For example, 1944 was the first World Series played entirely west of the Mississippi River, which makes sense as St. Louis was the westernmost city in Major League Baseball at that point. Back then, there were 16 teams in Major League Baseball, and they were all situated in the Northeast and Midwest. St. Louis would be baseball's sole outpost west of the Mississippi until 1955, when the Philadelphia Athletics moved to Kansas City. Today, 13 of the 30 teams in Major League Baseball play west of the Mississippi River. 1944 also marked only the third World Series where every game was played at one stadium. In this case, that stadium was Sportsman's Park, home to both the Cardinals and the Browns. It was the last World Series played all at one ballpark until 2020, when COVID restrictions necessitated that every World Series game be played in one stadium. But perhaps the oddest fact surrounding the All St. Louis World Series is a story involving the managers of the Cardinals and the Browns. You see, for the 1944 season, Browns manager Luke Sewell and Cardinals manager Billy Southworth split an apartment at the Lindell Towers. There was a housing shortage, and since the Browns and Cardinals were never in St. Louis at the same time, the two managers figured they could just split the apartment with no difficulties. When one man was at home, the other would be on the road. They rarely even saw one another. As the season wound down, and the likelihood of an All St. Louis World Series grew, Sewell, who was in St. Louis with the Browns, eventually sent a telegram to Southworth asking what should be done if the Browns should clinch the American League pennant. Southworth, who was on the road with the National League leading Cardinals, sent a telegram back to St. Louis to Sewell saying, quote, "The Browns are going to win the pennant, so you go right ahead and stay in the apartment. I have rooms available at a hotel, and I'll just move in there when we return home," end quote. Apparently, though, the apartment brought no extra luck to Sewell and the Browns. The Cardinals ended up winning the World Series in 6 games, clinching their second championship of the 1940s and their 5th World Series title. The Browns would never win a World Series in St. Louis, and in 1953, the team relocated to Baltimore, ending the Browns' era of baseball in St. Louis.
Next week on History Spotlight, how bloomers and bicycles paved the way for women to gain independence.
To learn more about the Missouri Historical Society, visit mohistory.org.